hello. Okay, now it should be working. There we go. I think it's working now. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everybody. I don't even know what this says. What does it say? Chat is disabled for this live stream. That is just not true. What are we talking about? Can I have to like pop out the chat. I remember how to do this, but I actually don't remember how to do this. What is up, Chomper? I don't remember how to do this, but today we're going to be doing full card predictions live. We're going to be doing these full card predictions live just because, I feel like this is a good way to do the full card predictions. I feel like if I make it concise enough, this can still be considered a video, and it could be actually watchable for those who didn't tune into the live. So yeah, we're gonna get into it in a minute. I'm gonna try to get the chat up on screen. Let me figure out how to do that. How do I do the? Hold on. Let me figure this out. How do I do the pop out thing? What is up? What is up? What is up, guys? How are you guys doing on this fine evening? I wish I could have started this stream a bit earlier so that I kind of go on for a little longer, but I had some stuff to do and I had work today, so had to do that first, obviously. Let me see. How do I get, dude? I completely forgot how to get this chat working. I'm trying to figure this out. Let me see. This is horrific. This is okay, let me see. Let me see. How do I copy the live chat thing? I think maybe I have to go back to YouTube Studio. Oh, what did it just do? Oh, okay, there we go. I think it's because I closed that. Whoopsie. Alright, 1 second. We're gonna have to close Tapology, and I will to get this back. Let me do this real quick. We'll figure it out. Trust me. Trust me, we'll figure it out. Trust me. The thing is that I did want to do a video on this Yuri fight, on this main event, but I just didn't really I feel like when I was trying to write the script for it, I kind of realized this low-key sounds better as just kind of like a spitball, if I just started talking in the middle of this. So that's what we're going to end up doing. Let me go back to this. Brother. Let's see. I think I go to this and then I pop the chat out. Pop out chat. There we go. There we go. I found it. Don't worry. Don't worry, I found it. Alright. Here you guys go. Should be up on the screen now, I think. There we go. Lovely. Lovely. That's beautiful. Great. And now I can put the window back up. Booyah. Look at that. Now the chat is on the screen. How big we can see this? Look at that. What the yeah, I don't know what Hokit was doing. What was Hokit doing? I have no idea. He's doing something. He's doing something. As you can see, my picks are on the right here. I may or may not be changing some of these as we go along. I don't really know. These are just what I put in immediately. So you know what? We're just gonna spoiler that so that you guys don't know what my picks are. Well, even though you can still see it, but whatever. You can't really see it. You can kind of not see it. There you go. You can't really see it. You can't really see it. You can't really see it. All right, let's start off with the opener of the early prelims on UFC 327 with Charles Chuck Buffalo Radke versus Francisco Prado at 170. And this is a fight. This is one of those fights. A lot of people like Charles Radke for gimmicky reasons, but I think this is interesting because I feel like if Radke just sort of like doesn't show up, because like he looked really bad against Mallet, but he's back on a win. I don't remember against who. Against Daniel Frinza. Actually, I do remember that now. But I think Prado's like a tough. He's just kind of a blockhead. He's just kind of a tough guy. Like he's just kind of a tough guy. He's just kind of a blockhead. He just kind of like eats punishment to go forward. And like he lost to Daniel Huber at lightweight, I believe. He's moving up to welterweight for this, or he has moved up to welterweight for the last couple fights of his. And Radke's like a chunky welterweight dude. I know he also used to be a former lightweight, but I think Prado is just he's just kind of small. We need a second video about second Charles title run and him becoming triple champ. Perhaps. To be fair, I don't like it, but it makes the fights better. You either hate him and you want him to lose, or love his weird cringy character. You're talking about Hokit, I guess, or Radke. Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I don't know. I don't really care about the gimmick itself. I think it's kind of cringe when there are like creators who like not rag on the gimmick, like they sort of milk the gimmick. They're like, dude, he's so funny, he's so base. Like it's funny the one time, and then like, all right, we could like not drop it, but we could like chill out on it. But yeah, I'm picking Radke by KO here, even though probably decision is also possible. But I don't know. I feel like Radke, he does have power in the hands. He's beaten a good amount. He's beaten some good power punchers, and by some, the only one that I can remember is Matthew Semmelsberger, who his only thing is power. So him beating Semmelsberger is pretty good. Like, Semmelsberger is the slight favorite. Not surprised. Yeah, I think this one's kind of simple. I think Charles Radke is going to beat Francisco Prado. I don't know. I'm not really thinking about this one too hard. But what is crazy is that the next fight on this card, we're going to talk about it. Let me go down. I have to do this to maybe I should just like hit the back button, but like whatever. I have to do this first. Yeah, there we go. So the next bout, if it would load, is Kelvin Gastelum versus Vicente Luque at middleweight. This is a big one. This is a really crazy fight to be the second fight of the night. It is kind of nuts. Yeah, Josh Hoke. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. And you can see here I'm picking Gastelum by second round KO. And it kind of comes down to Vicente Luque just not being as fresh as Kelvin Gastelum. And Kelvin Gastelum is, like, although Kelvin is fat and Kelvin's a fridge and Kelvin will never make weight ever again, this is the only time he's done it ever, he's still all right on the feet. Like, he didn't get melted by Joe Pyfer. Like, even in like I said in my Izzy Pyfer video, I think I think Gastelum did very well in that fight, considering the like comical size discrepancy, and he kind of crafted it up versus Joe Pyfer in moments. And I think Luque is he just doesn't have it anymore. He just he just kind of folded to Kevin Holland. He just kind of didn't do anything versus Yoel Alvarez. And me personally, this is a bit of an anti-hardcore take. I don't rate Yoel Alvarez that much. especially after that performance against Luque. I know that he technically should have finished him in, what was it, round 1, where he hit him in the eye and like it was a punch, but it wasn't called as a punch. So technically that should have been a stoppage. But I still think his performance was pretty lackluster, and I don't really think Luque is that good anymore. I think he's pretty washed. I think the brain hemorrhage is just obviously not having a good effect on his career. I think he's really only gone down since then. Like, he beat RDA, and then just, I don't know, he hasn't really done a whole lot. I believe RDA was his last win. No, well, oh yeah, Themba Gorimbo. I forgot about that. I remember everybody thought he was back after he beat Themba, and then he lost to Kevin Holland. Like, especially up a weight class, like, is he really going to be more durable up a weight class? Or like, are we? Let's be real with ourselves. Is Themba Gorimbo going to be? Not Themba Gorimbo. Is Vicente Luque going to be more durable up a weight class? I don't really think so. I don't know. I don't see Luque winning this one. Gastelum is still a tricky boxer on the feet. He has really good in and out sort of movement. He struggles a lot with guys that have big size discrepancies over him, where he has to make it like kind of close, right? Because he just has like such a size disadvantage. But in this case, Luque is a welterweight. Like, this is the first time in Gastelum's middleweight career where he's gonna have a size advantage. Like, when was the last time at middleweight where Kelvin had a size advantage? Like, I guess Chris Curtis. I don't know. Like, Chris Curtis is also a welterweight now, so like maybe you could say him. But even then, I feel like Chris Curtis just has like a bigger frame than Kelvin Gastelum. But regardless, I'm picking Kelvin Gastelum by KO just because I feel like, I don't know, this is sort of like the area where Kelvin thrives, is like the unranked section of middleweight, where guys who like really like fighting on the feet but aren't really mobile enough to catch him, like this is the kind of guy that falls into the Kelvin Gastelum trap, you know. So I feel like Kelvin is surely going to win this one. Surely. I feel, I don't know, it's really hard for me to justify picking Luque in this matchup. I just think it's a bit of a tough one for him. So we're going to go with Kelvin Gastelum here. All right, next up we have Chris Padilla versus Markel Medeiros. Now, I actually watched Markel Medeiros' Dana White Contender Series fight because I didn't know anything about this guy. He's a pretty slick striker. He's pretty slick. He's pretty slick, man. He's pretty slick. He's pretty freaking slick. But I rate Chris Padilla very highly. I rate him very, very highly. Not necessarily because he's like that. He is pretty good. But the reason why I say that is because Chris Padilla currently is, he's at that unranked section of lightweights where, like, he's sort of not in a revolving door. He's in a bit of a Shark Tank because he's fighting guys like Ishmael Bonfim. He's in the mix with like Jai Herbert. He's going to be getting up there with names like Terrence McKinney, Charlie Campbell, like Tom Nolan, Chris Duncan, Mateus Rebecki. You know, these names are going to start, you know, piling on Chris Padilla. And I think Ishmael Bonfim, Nazim Sadikov, you know, like those kinds of names, you know, Ludovic Klein, these are the names that we're talking about. Ignacio Bahamondes, you know, Tafik Musa, like these guys, these names are the kinds of names that Chris Padilla is very close in terms of reaching. Like, he beat Ishmael Bonfim. He broke Ishmael Bonfim in the Apex, who who really his last significant win was against Terrence McKinney, and which was like all the way back in like 2022. But I think Chris Padilla, I feel like him beating Ishmael Bonfim is a really good sign, because like only really good guys beat Ishmael Bonfim the way Chris Padilla did. Benoit Saint-Denis, you know, sort of bulldozed, destroyed Ishmael Bonfim. Who else did? Nazim Sadikov hit him with that question mark kick, got the doctor stoppage. I feel like Chris Padilla is a really good solid unranked lightweight. I think he's going to start entering that conversation. Like, I think I would probably pick Chris Padilla to beat Terrence McKinney just based on like survivability. I mean, Chris Padilla did have a really close fight with Jai Herbert, so maybe not. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but I think Chris Padilla is very good. I think he is very good. So I think he has it here. So I'm gonna be picking Chris Padilla by decision, even though I don't really know a whole lot about Markel Medeiros, and maybe Markel Medeiros comes in here and just kind of smokes him. I have no idea. I saw him land one knee against one guy, and I'm not really going to pick that over Chris Padilla. Maybe I'm too much of a skill sell. Maybe I'm too much of a resume sell. Maybe I trust Chris Padilla too much. But I think Chris Padilla is way more proven. I know Markel Medeiros had a really like stinky fight versus Austin Hubbard, so I feel pretty safe in picking Chris Padilla here. So yeah, we're gonna go with Chris Padilla in this matchup. I feel like I'm going with a lot of favorites in my picks, but I think that one's good. So next up, I don't really have I don't really have anything to say about this matchup. I'm picking Tatiana Suarez. Yeah, I'm a merit sell. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this. I'm gonna pick Tatiana Suarez. I don't really care. I saw Nathaniel Wood called Yuri by decision. I would not consider these breakdowns concise. I mean, they're not. I mean, maybe they're not. They're not really concise. They're like. I said earlier. Someone else said that they were concise. I said that they would be like spitballs. I don't have anything to say about this. Tatiana Suarez is probably just going to out wrestle Lupita Godinez. Loopy Godinez. I don't really. I don't know. I don't have anything to say about this one. Like I don't know. I don't have anything to say really. Like maybe Loopy Godinez could get it done here. Maybe she won't. Maybe she'll get a nice robbery win. Maybe she'll get a really clear win. I don't know. I'm not very invested in this matchup. I don't know. I don't really. After Tatiana Suarez's performance against Zhang Weili, I'm not really like. I don't know. She's not like an exciting ranked women's strawweight, like to the point where I want to watch her fight because she's just an exciting fighter, and not because like the whole reason why she was touted highly was because she was like undefeated and she was expected to win the belt over Zhang Weili, and she didn't do that, and she looked pretty bad in that fight. So I mean, maybe Loopy wins. I don't know. I'm not thinking about it too hard. Maybe Loopy wins. But I'm picking Suarez by decision. Maybe Loopy's a really good pick. I don't know, but I actually don't remember her beating Jessica Andrade. I don't remember watching that fight. Cuz I feel like Andrade has lost to everybody under the sun at this point. She's probably lost to half the people in the strawweight and flyweight rankings at this point. Actually, that's not true. She probably has won a couple more at flyweight. Yeah, this is kind of a coin toss. I don't really know what to think of it. I'm not going to dwell on this anymore because anybody who's watching this as an actual video would care. Patchy Mix, I forgot about that storyline. Forgot about that. Next up, we got Mateusz Rebecki. Why did I say Rebecki, dude? I'm thinking about Rebecki right now, bro. Mateusz Gamrot versus Esteban Ribovic. What am I talking about? Okay. This fight's really interesting because on one hand, I really do want to pick Esteban Ribovic because I feel like unlike some of the other quote-unquote strikers that Mateusz Gamrot has fought, Ribovic is just sort of like a volume guy. Yes, he is sort of like an avalanche. Like, he sort of like grows as he gets into a fight. But I feel like he just is like a really solid volume striker in general. And like, if we're looking at Gamrot's past opponents, like Ludovic Klein or like a Jalen Turner or like even like a Dan Hooker, specifically Ludovic Klein. Ludovic Klein is a guy that really like enjoys momentum going into fights. Like he really like grows and he really lets his hands go when he, starts to gain success. And I feel like my issue here is that Esteban Rivovic doesn't really need that. I don't think he does anyway. I feel like Ribovic has a shot because not that he has proven grappling. He doesn't really. I don't think he's really had to even show his grappling as of late. But I don't know. I feel like Ribovic is like pickable here, even though a lot of people are just kind of like mindlessly going with Gamrot. I feel like Ribovic has a shot, and the reason why I say that, I guess I didn't explain this. So the reason why me saying that Ludovic Klein requires momentum is important in relation to Esteban Rivovic is because Mateusz Gamrot was able to just sort of shoot on Ludovic Klein and control him from bell to bell, and because Ludovic Klein requires that sort of momentum, sort of that jump start, he doesn't really have those early moments where he's like, piecing Gamrot up and landing these super crisp combinations like he does against most of his other opponents, like Rebecki, like other guys that he's fought, like I guess Roosevelt Roberts, but that was a kind of a tricky fight for him. In the case of Ribovic, he would just kind of start from the get-go, he just kind of like goes. He's just kind of like a train that never stops, and I feel like that might be the end for Gamrot. I don't know, but I have a feeling that Gamrot will do a lot better on the feet, and also Ribovic just can't finish anybody, and he can't really drop anybody either. He hasn't dropped a guy in a while. Like he didn't drop Elvis Brenner, which, to be fair, Brenner's a pretty durable guy. I don't really blame him for that. He had a really close fight with Nazar Haqparast. Don't really blame him for that too much. I think that's just kind of like a hard stylistic matchup. Beat McKinney, KO'd him. Zellhuber, he did drop in the first round, I think, or was it in the second round? I think it was Zellhuber that caught Esteban in the first round, and then it was Zellhuber who caught Zellhuber in the second round. Either way, my point is that Esteban lands like 200 strikes like per fight. He lands like 120 strikes per fight, but he just doesn't KO anybody, which is kind of alarming going into a fight with Gamrot, who actually, despite his chinny reputation, has not been finished in the UFC like at all up until being submitted by Oliveira, which is completely permissible. That is completely fine. You are allowed to get finished by Charles. Okay, you're not allowed to, but like, it's not unreasonable to be finished by Charles Oliveira. I don't really think that's so crazy to say, So I'm going to pick Mateusz Gamrot here on the basis of him not being the most terrible striker ever. He kind of does suck. But he's also Gamrot is like both an underrated striker, but he still is like bad. Like I don't really know how else to describe it. He's simultaneously both, and that's why I'm going to pick Gamrot here. No, that is not why I'm going to pick him here, but I think he'll probably just end up taking Esteban a couple times. He'll probably be somewhat competitive on the feet, and the control time will be enough to close the gap and steal rounds. I feel like Esteban might have a really good third round. I really do want to pick Ribovic here. I really do, but I don't see it happening. Gamrot's a really good gatekeeper at lightweight. I think he's just going to continue to fill that role, so I'm picking Mateusz Gamrot here. Those guys at ATT are really dialing it in, so guys like Chris Duncan, Moicano, I mean, they're kind of all in the same group, but, they're all doing pretty well right now, despite them fighting amongst each other. So I'm gonna pick Mateusz Gamrot here. I think he's pretty likely to win. So we're gonna pick him. All right, next up, dreaded fight. I'm dreading this one. Not this one. Not this one. Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. Now, there was a time when I really truly believed in Randy Brown. I truly believed in him. And by truly believed in him, I meant I thought he would beat I thought he could. I didn't actually pick him. I picked Gabriel Bonfim, but I thought Randy Brown could beat. I knew that if he put his mind to it, he really could have. But he's just too chinny, and he just fumbles the bag, and for a guy that's as long as Randy Brown, he doesn't actually punish people for trying to come into range. Like, he's a rangy, tall, long guy, yeah, but he doesn't really put the weapons out there enough. Like, he's not a Leon Edwards to the point where he fights to the level of his opponent so that they I don't know what I'm trying to say here. So that they don't, pressure him, and so they don't unload volume, but it's just I just don't trust him here. I'm probably going to pick Kevin Holland. Even though I don't trust Kevin Holland either. I don't trust either of these fighters. Both of these fighters are wildly inconsistent. I don't believe in either of them to win anything. But I'm picking Kevin Holland. I'm going to eat my words, because Kevin Holland, just every time you pick him, he wins. Every time you pick him, or every time you pick his opponent, he wins. Every time you pick him, he loses. It's just how it goes. It's just how Kevin Holland works. It just happens. He's just I don't even have words to describe Kevin Holland, because he just is Kevin Holland. He's not even a gatekeeper. He's not even a prospect. I wouldn't even consider him a veteran, because he doesn't have veteran performances against literally anybody. He just is Kevin Holland. He just fumbles it all the time. But Randy Brown is also just kind of an unk killer. And he's also super chinny. And he also has pretty untested grappling. So, he's been chinned by so many people, man. Chinned by JDM before getting submitted. Chinned by Gabriel Bonfim. That's actually insane, though. Getting chinned by Gabriel Bonfim is not a great look. I did predict. Hey, man, come on, man. Come on, man. He was looking good before the finish. Don't do that to me. No, I'm just kidding. Well, he was. I'm not. That's not a joke. But I mean, never mind. we're not gonna get into that. But I don't know why I'm picking Kevin Holland, man. I don't know why, but I am. I don't know. Don't ask me why, because I don't have an explanation other than I don't trust Randy Brown. I don't trust Randy Brown, man. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. We'll do that. Let me Okay, there we go. I don't am I really going to trust Kevin Holland to win a fight? Am I going to trust Randy Brown to win a fight? No, I don't want to do either of those two things. I really don't. I don't trust Kevin Holland. I'm making this very clear. I just don't. Randy Brown just fumbles it against fighters who have an inkling of power and aren't old. Let's look at Randy Brown's recent run, because he beat Gabriel Bonfim, he beat Nicholas Dalby, he lost to Brian Battle via robbery. He beat Muslim Salikov and ESD, or ZDS, ESD, or EZD. Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't get the acronym right there, but I don't know. Well, you know what? We're going to flip a coin right now. We're gonna flip a coin right now, guys. I haven't said which fighter is gonna get. I haven't said which fighter is which, so we're gonna wait. All right, so Kevin Holland is gonna be heads, and Randy Brown is gonna be tails. We're gonna see if the coin is right. We're eventually gonna see if the coin is right, rather. All right, so we are sticking with the Kevin Holland pick. So JDM's a good comparison, back and forth, and only one of them got finished by JDM. That is true. I do think that's on the basis of Kevin Holland having like the most insane chin ever and Randy Brown just not having the same kind of chin. I feel like realistically both of them would have similar performances if JDM like was able to put away Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland just has a ridiculous chin, and to be fair, his boxing looked like okay in that fight. Like he didn't look bad, but I don't know. I think yeah, I think Kevin Holland's gonna probably drop Randy Brown and get a Darce choke. I feel like it's kind of that simple. I just trust Kevin Holland not to get submitted. Like, because realistically, what is Randy Brown gonna do to Kevin Holland? He's going to poke at him from range. When has he ever done that? Like, I can't remember recently when Randy Brown has like stuck to a jab and like beat someone at range. I guess he kind of did that to Brian Battle. Like Brian Battle low-key just kind of smudged him up against the fence. But the fact that Randy Brown couldn't make that more clear is a testament to how weak he is from range. Like he doesn't actually have consistent weapons on the feet that he uses to like run away with fights on points. He just doesn't do that because otherwise he just wouldn't have lost to Brian Battle, right? He wouldn't have lost to Gabriel Bonfim. He wouldn't have gotten leg kicked to shreds. Like he wouldn't have had these issues against fighters that he has the physical advantages over, you know? Yeah, I agree. I think Holland will get this by Darce. I think he'll drop him and Darce him. I think that's what's gonna happen here. Thoughts on Pratis versus JDM? MMHA, MMA Guru, and the Octagon Oracle are picking Pratis to finish him. I don't know. I feel it's a lot closer than I think. I think a lot of people may think it is, but my inclination is to pick Pratis by KO, but I'm gonna wait for my own more in-depth research on that. I did see like a clip of like Pratis like sparring, like hard sparring, and let's just say like he's pretty open in the pocket. He's like he has like the long Muay Thai guard, but when he's like scrapping in the pocket with someone, he does open up quite a lot, and I think JDM can have success there. But we'll get to that when we get there. I don't have a definitive prediction for that one yet, mainly because I haven't really like looked into it too much. I was gonna make a video on Carlos Pratis, but that'll have to wait, I guess, until then. I think that's in 3 weeks. So next up, oh boy, this one's fun. Okay, so the pick I have here on screen is not indicative of what I actually think is going to happen in this fight. Call me a fence sitter. Aaron Pico is probably not going to win this fight. I just really, really want him to win. I'm going to make a video next week talking about glass cannons in MMA. I think it's we're going to be talking about glass cannons like a lot. If you guys have noticed in the current state of the sport, there's a lot of glass cannons on the come up, particularly at featherweight. We have Aaron Pico, who if he wins this fight, he'll technically be on the come up again. We have Steve Garcia, who you could consider a glass cannon. We have Manuel Torres at lightweight, we have what's his face? I can't think of his name. We have Uros Medic at welterweight. And I don't know why I can't think of any other names, but there are more names to add to that list. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. We're getting a nice plethora of the glass cannon archetype in MMA, and I kind of wanted to talk about that. So I think we're gonna get that eventually. I think I'm gonna make that video next week. But Aaron Pico, I really want him to win this fight, but I don't really know if he will. I know Pitbull is kind of chinny, but Pitbull also didn't get finished by Yair, and I know that was kind of like a more measured version of Yair, and Pitbull did kind of glide through Ige. He kind of just like beat him pretty handily. I'm picking Aaron Pico, but I won't be surprised at all if Pitbull wins. I'm picking Aaron Pico as like, I would say like Pitbull's like a 62% likelihood of winning here, but I'm picking Pico. I would call Torres a glass cannon. He lost to Ignacio Bahamondes by one shot KO. I would consider him a glass cannon. I would consider Torres a glass cannon for sure. Yeah. Hold on. I had to time that person out. My bad. I had to do that live because I forgot to turn it off, but it's fine. But yeah, I'm picking Aaron Pico here, even though I don't trust him to win whatsoever. But I just really want him to win, dude, because he's a cool fighter. I don't know why he's that big of a favorite. I think Pitbull should be the favorite here. I don't know why he's still a favorite. T-Rex is a little bit glass, but the issue is he's just such a cannon. Yeah, McKinney is definitely a glass cannon too. Yeah, for sure. I don't know why I didn't think about him. But I guess I didn't think about him because I don't see him as like an actual contender. Like I see Manuel Torres as a real contender. I see Steve Garcia as like a real contender. I see Uros Medic as like a real contender. I don't really see McKinney as that. He's just kind of like a glass cannon that exists, you know, so more so crumbled in my opinion than getting one shot. I mean, I thought he got one shot. Like he got one shot KO. It was like a one shot KO, but I mean, I guess you could say that. But yeah, I mean, and also Manuel Torres has had like weird like fluky moments where he gets hurt by like Chris Duncan. I know Chris Duncan is good. I'm just saying like he is like hittable. He is kind of chinny. Uros is a glass cannon. No, yeah, Uros is definitely a glass cannon. Yeah, Medic is definitely a glass cannon. But yeah, I'm picking Aaron Pico here just cause like Pico is a cool style, man. I don't know how you can't love to watch glass cannons fight. It's just kill or be killed. It's awesome, dude. Like glass cannons all day. Give me 100 of 100 Aaron Picos and put them in the UFC featherweight division. It would be the most exciting division in the sport, no doubt. Like think of like if we had 10 million more Aaron Picos in the UFC, it would just be phenomenal because there'd just be awesome highlight KOs, like awesome sleepage, coma knockouts would be great. I think Pico will probably lose this fight. The thing is that people are like, yes, Pico is chinny, but Pico didn't get chinned by Larone's spinning elbow because he was chinny. He got chinned by the spinning elbow because he has horrific defense and he was way too over aggressive and just ran into the spinning elbow. Like, I feel like that's what people are missing. Like kill shots are not like you just eat those. You're not like Max Holloway or like, you know, Brian Ortega where you could just kind of eat spinning elbows and like big head kicks and like stuff like that. Like you can't just eat those strikes. Those are kill shots. If you get hit with like flying knees, if you get hit with like spinning elbows, you're just gonna go out. Like that's just gonna happen. And with Aaron Pico, the reason why he got hit with a big strike like that was because he was just super over aggressive, and he didn't really read between the lines. Because when you watch that fight back of Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico, you can sort of see, like, obviously this is hindsight, but you can watch you can watch Lerone Murphy slowly make his reads, and he's like landing the front kick to the body, and as Aaron comes in, Pico starts to spin. Like, it's sort of like what I talked about with the Sean O'Malley breakdown about the front kick, where hitting someone with the front kick to alleviate pressure will typically make them walk back into that space. And in that space is where Sean O'Malley likes to throw his combinations. And in the same way, that's when Aaron Pico walked into Lerone Murphy's spinning elbow. It's like the same thing. Speaking of two glass cannons, yeah, that is not. It's not next, but it'll be after this one. So next up, yeah, I'm picking Aaron Pico here. I don't think he's gonna win, but I'm picking him anyway, just because Aaron Pico's cool, man. He's a cool dude. I love, I love the wrestlers. We're gonna go with Aaron Pico. I trust him. Yeah, yeah. Hold on. We're moving on to Johnny Walker. Not Johnny Walker. What is this? Johnny Walker. Not Johnny Walker. What did I just say? Cub Swanson versus Nate the Train. Who do you guys think is gonna win between Cub Swanson and Nate the Train, guys? Who do we got? All right, let's run back to this. Here we go. Cub Swanson and Nate the Train. Nate the Train in the UFC. Alrighty, here we go. Cub Swanson. Yeah, I think I don't know. This fight just kind of comes down to like Cub Swanson just being way slicker than Nate Landwehr. And I do like Nate Landwehr's chances of riding on a storm, but he is just kind of chinny now. Like, he has taken so much damage recently. Like, he just got marauded by our countryman in Doo Ho Choi. And he hasn't really been the same since, I'm not going to lie. And by not the same, I mean he just lost to Morgan Chartier like a year ago. But Cub Swanson, man, Cub Swanson. I think Unk still got it. I think Unk still got it. I think Unk still has most certainly got it. I think he will win this pretty handily. I think he will win this in style. I think he's gonna get a nice nasty second round KO out of Nate Landwehr. I really do like Nate Landwehr's chances of like surviving. I don't really like them, to be honest. The main reason why I'm not picking Nate Landwehr is because I think he's kind of deteriorated over time. So I am picking Cub Swanson here. But Nate Landwehr is good. Nate Landwehr is not a bad pick here, I think. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. So I'm going to pick Cub Swanson still, just cuz I think he's just a bit more elusive, and to be fair, Nate Landwehr hasn't really struggled with like specifically super elusive guys. Like I feel like Nate Landwehr, if anything, has sort of lost to like the more rudimentary, like sort of like not like, what am I thinking? Like technical boxers like Doo Ho Choi. Danny is not technical, but you know what I mean. Sort of basic, simple strikers like Morgan Chartier and Doo Ho Choi. I mean, Morgan Chartier is more of like a physical like athlete. Like he's not really like a rudimentary boxer, but he's just kind of like, he has a simple game essentially is what I'm getting at. So thank God we have Kayla, monumentally more entertaining than so true. No, yeah, I'm gonna miss Cubs one of the unks that we love. I remember when his debut at 135 failed against J Mart. To be honest, he probably could have continued to debut. He probably could have continued to stay at 135, but like J Mart is just like good, so I don't think that's his fault. That's like kind of a weird thing about some is like older fighters is they'll go to a new weight class and then they'll lose, but the fighter that they lost to was like a good fighter, so I don't really like, it's not like they couldn't have continued to fight at that weight class, so I don't know. And at that point I feel like Cub probably should have started thinking about hanging it up, but now, you know, he's got a good fight on his hands. I think Nate Landwehr is, yeah, there's just a little bit too much tread on the tires. And Cub, it's not like Cub has been like away from the game for too long, so you know, I'm gonna pick Cub here. I think it's Cub. All right, so now we get to talk about Glass Cannon versus Glass Cannon. The thing is that like I couldn't like conventionally think of Glass Cannons as fighters who move forward a lot, and neither of these two guys are that, so which is why I didn't put them in that conversation. But they are, you could consider them Glass Cannons just on the basis of them being powerful light heavyweights. I'm picking, I don't really know who to pick here. Honestly, I was like picking Johnny Walker at first. I was like really like, I think Reyes is just going to be kept at range. But then I thought about it a little bit. Right, guys? So think about it. So Johnny Walker, when he's not KOing someone flat out cold, or when he's not getting KO'd flat out cold, what is he doing? He's leg kicking people from range and just sort of looking kind of goofy and just kind of keeping it safe and whatnot. Versus like Anthony Smith, and like I guess I don't even know, like Anthony Smith is like the last time he won since Min Yang Zhang. That's kind of crazy actually. Let's what is Johnny Walker's record? Yeah, he was on this little run. I remember this little run where he beat Craig and Kudalaba. You know, Walker doesn't have as many wins in the UFC as I thought he did. But anywho, when talking about this fight, I remember I like specifically think about the Anthony Smith performance where Johnny sort of kept like a more measured approach, and I think about it like this: like, if Johnny does that, is he really going to do that the whole time, or is he going to fall into the trap of getting KO'd like he did against Uzdemir and like he did against Ankalaev? Like, although those guys are much higher level, I would consider that. Like, I don't know. Even though Reyes like really struggles with fighters that won't move forward, that won't like give him, that won't basically serve that left hand, that pullback left hand on a silver platter. Like, he will really struggle with fighters who don't do that. But I feel like Johnny Walker's going to end up doing it. Like, he's just so goofy that I can see Johnny Walker just like getting frustrated from range that he's not like really doing a whole lot. Like, he'll be winning, but he won't be clearly winning. Both of them will be kind of tentative because they're both so chinny. They're just going to kind of be like pitter-pattering from range. And I feel like Johnny will eventually sort of like commit to something goofy, and that'll get him KO'd, and that'll get him walked onto a big left hand, and I think it'll just happen. I think that's just like what's likely to occur here. I feel like Dominic Reyes is probably just going to touch Johnny's chin once, and it's going to go out. Like against Jacoby, who I really rate highly in this division right now, Reyes like dispatched of him after getting pressured early. Like, he like hurt Jacoby bad with like a really clean left hand, and then eventually finished him. So Johnny said he survived an Ngannou uppercut in sparring, but I bet that was a dream he had while while KO'd. Maybe that's just something his coach told him. Maybe that was like he doesn't remember what happened, and then they were like, "Yeah, no, you ate an uppercut and you kind of wobbled a bit, but you were okay and you fought through it." Maybe that's what they're telling him. Yeah, but I'm gonna pick Dominic Reyes. I'm picking like a lot of favorites here. It's kind of making me uncomfortable, but I don't know. This one's a toss-up. You could pick Walker because he's the underdog, but I am not. I don't condone gambling, so I'm not picking based on odds. Yeah. I'm picking Dominic Reyes. Even though Reyes genuinely will never be able to beat someone who doesn't fight on the front foot. He'll never beat a Magomed Ankalaev. He'll never beat like a Carlos Ulberg. He'll probably never beat a guy like Alex Pereira. Not that Alex Pereira fights on the back foot, but that he is capable of doing that to the point where he would just chin Reyes as he's forced to move forward is what I'm saying. So I'm gonna pick Dominic Reyes here, because Johnny Walker does tend to move forward sometimes, and he can, and likely in a fight where he doesn't want it to end up like the Smith fight where like just nothing happens. I could see him like getting overzealous and getting chinned again. I will not fall for the Prize Picks Mafia. I won't do it. I'll never do it. Will never. Sorry. Sorry, Prize Picks. Will never. Sorry. Moving on. This is the fight where I kinda want to switch my pick. So right now, I have Blades by decision. Curtis Razor Blades versus Josh Hokett. I kind of want to switch to Josh Hokett. To be honest. I kind of want to. Even though Josh Hokett isn't really that great, and I feel like he's just kind of like a more aggressive, smaller, not as good Curtis Blades. I kind of just feel like Josh Hokett being such a fast starter will have Blades off guard. But I will pick. I may keep this Blades pick. I'm not really sure. I kind of do want to pick Hokett by like round 1 KO just for funsies. No harm in doing so. I feel like because I've picked every favorite, I feel like it's only right that I pick at least one underdog. And this is really one of the only ones that I can see happening. So I may do it. It'd be kind of cool if Curtis or if Hokett fluked a win. I want Curtis to win, by the way. I'm not really like picking this on the basis of me wanting Hokit to win, but I'm pretty sure most people are picking Curtis. I don't really see anybody picking Hokit, and I kind of want to do it just because. This is one of those moments where like everybody's picking the veteran, the high ranked the high ranked mainstay. And I know heavyweights have been kind of inconsistent. Like Sergey Spivak beat Ante Deliha, and I don't remember the last like guy who did such a thing. I'm trying to think. Like Blades beat Almeida, or I guess like Kuniev beat Almeida too. So I mean, I'm trying to think of like a moment where like the prospect lost. Oh, Mick Parkin lost to Mick Parkin. No, Mick Parkin lost to Tybura. No, remember that, guys? Anyway, I think Blades will implement his wrestling to try and drag Hokit to the mat and try to control him with top position. I have Curtis easily for this one, but I low-key want Hokit because he's like the only fighter trying to be promotable. I kind of agree. I mean, I don't really want him to win because he's promotable, but I kind of want him to win because then everybody will hate him that much more, and I think that'll be really funny. So I think I'm going to switch my pick to Hokit here. We're going to switch my pick because I think it'd be really funny, and I think it'll happen. I don't think it will happen, but I think I'm gonna manifest it. I'm gonna manifest it. So I'm gonna pick Josh Hokit here. Mainly just because I feel like because Hokit is such a fast starter, I feel like Curtis will be kind of on edge. I think he will just be on edge. And he'll get caught by something because although Hokit is a small heavyweight and although he is sort of a volume striker, he is still pretty powerful and he still puts guys down. Like he put who was it? Max Jimenez. He like put him down pretty bad. So Costa is winning. I'm convinced. I really want to pick Paulo Costa. Trust me, guys. When I say I did tape on this fight and I really wanted to pick Paulo Costa, I truly, truly did. I really want Paulo Costa to win. I really want to believe in the Paulo Costa storyline here. But he's just not going to. And let me tell you why. Because although Paulo Costa, offensively, he has all the weapons to beat Azamat Murzakanov. He has the big body kicks from open stance. He has really solid left hooks, check hooks coming in. He has really good head kicks to keep, the shorter Azamat Murzakanov wary. He has, dynamic stuff like the wheel kicks. Like, he has most of the weapons that you would want to see in a fight versus a guy like Azamat Murzakanov. And he's a huge guy, even though he's going to be moving up a weight class here. He's going to be able to be physical in there and hopefully stuff the takedowns if Azamat ends up going to that, because he's not really a grappler, he's more of a striker. But the reason why I am so sure that Paulo Costa is not going to win this fight, unfortunately, is because his defense is pretty bad. And this can be seen directly in his last fight versus Roman Kopylov, where Kopylov basically just like doesn't throw his left hand at all. Like, it just basically doesn't happen. And even though Kopylov is not punishing Costa for his poor defense, he's just not throwing his left hand at all. And every time Paulo Costa is fading backwards to defend whatever Kopylov is throwing at him, Paulo Costa basically drops his hands completely and just kind of forgoes all fundamental boxing defense. I just can't pick him, man. I just can't pick him when Azamat's whole game is built around the open stance matchup and I hate to say it, the outside foot battle, and trying to get his right foot on the outside of Paulo's and trying to land that big meaty left hand across his chin. And also, like, that Kopylov fight, like, Kopylov did not look good at all, and I think Kopylov has been overrated for some time now. And by that I don't mean like I saw that he was bad or anything. I mean, like, I participated in saying that he was really good. I really liked his performance against Chris Curtis, and he just kind of disappointed pretty much every following fight after that. Even though I think at that point he had already lost. He had already lost to Anthony Hernandez by that point. But I'm saying that, like, he never really truly went to the heights that everybody thought he was going to. So I know I'm talking about the outside foot battle, but seriously, Paulo Costa just does not have good enough boxing defense. He just seriously doesn't, and he's going to rely too much on his chin. And I just think light heavyweight power is just going to be different. We saw Azamat Murza. I know Rakic sucks. I know Rakic is the chinniest guy in the world, but he got chinned by a power jab. No, but literally, who is doing that? Dude, Larian Douglas is doing that at featherweight. Azamat Murzakanov is doing it at light heavyweight. We're just going to keep seeing people get KO'd with jabs. I just think, like, Murzakanov is going to... I think Paulo's going to have a really good first round. He's going to have a really great first round. He's going to slam those body kicks. He's going to slam those head kicks. Everybody's going to be thinking, like, oh my gosh, Paulo Costa's going to school him. It's going to be like, dude, how did anybody ever pick Azamat Murzakanov? And then he's just going to find that moment. He's just going to, boom, snap that left hand on his chin, and he's going to drop pretty bad. It's going to look exactly like Cyril Gane versus Tai Tuivasa. I don't remember if that knockdown was an open stance, but it's going to look exactly like that knockdown, but it's going to be an open stance, and it's going to look pretty bad. And, like, Paul's probably... I would bet that he's going to get finished if he gets dropped. So that's why I'm picking Azamat by KO. So the power jab was technically an inside foot battle moment. True. Yeah, little inside step on the inside of Rakic's own jab. I don't even know what Rakic... I remember watching that and thinking, like, what was Rakic... Like, what was he actually doing? Was he trying... He was trying to shoot on Azamat Murzakanov, and he got KO'd by a jab. Like, that is insane. I don't know what he was doing, but... Like, just completely horrific fight IQ from Alexander Rakic, I'm not gonna lie. Just, like... Why are you shooting on, like, the literal... Like, Azamat Murzakanov is literally, like a foot away from the ground, and you're shooting on him, and he's the power puncher, and you're closing the distance as the taller, longer, chinny fighter. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, bro? What are we doing? Anyway, enough crapping on Alexander Rakic. My point here is that, like, Azamat Murzakanov just has, like, the perfect style to... Like, he has not the style. He just has the... He has one central goal in every single one of his fights, and that's to land the left hand on his opponent's chin. And Paulo Costa doesn't really have enough obstacles in front of that goal to stop Azamat from doing it. And I just think I think he's going to end up chinning Paulo Costa. If I'm wrong, I really hope I'm wrong. I want Paulo Costa to win this fight so bad. I was picking him all the way. When this fight was announced, I was like, oh yeah, that's an easy Paulo Costa masterclass. But watching the tape, I've come to a realization that I just I can't. I'm done looking at huge weaknesses and picking the other guy. I'm done doing it. I'm just done. I'm not doing it anymore. I've learned my lesson like 3 times now. I'm done. It's over. If I see a big weakness in a prediction, in an analysis or like a prediction video, I'm just gonna pick the guy who has the big weakness. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna stop like putting it out there for everybody to see and then just like not listening to my own analysis. I'm just gonna keep on I'm just gonna do the right thing this time. All right, so yeah, I feel really bad for Rakic, that KO Ankalaev decision loss where his corner was to blame and the full wrath of Yuri in the late rounds, bro. Yeah, Rakic is the most skilled. He's a skill cell. Rakic is a skill cell, but he's not an IQ cell. He's a bit of a negative IQ cell, let's say. I think his IQ has failed him for sure. Like in pretty much all aspects of MMA. Like in his corner, in his actual fights, in his trash talk. I think it's failed him. I think unfortunately, like I dislike Costa more than Brazilians than most Brazilians. I would imagine. I do wonder if Costa will utilize his BJJ though. I know that Costa like entered the Ultimate Fighter as like a jiu-jitsu fighter, but he just doesn't ever really use it. So I don't really see him out grappling Azmat. Maybe he will. I don't know. Maybe that's possible. But even though Paulo is strong in jacket and Azmat is fat and a confirmed roid cheat, I don't see I just don't see him keeping it up for 15 minutes. I just don't. I think Azmat's the professional, man. He's the professional. And I'm going to call it how it is. I'm going to call it how it is. Should Rakic retire? Alexander Rakic probably should retire. I don't even know what he does from here. Who does he fight? Does he fight Khalil? Sure, I guess. Who does he fight? Like Nikita Krylov? Like I guess he could fight Krylov. I don't know if they've already fought. Maybe they have, but he could fight Krylov, I guess, because Krylov just beat Modestus. So I guess put that matchup together. Anyway, time for the main event. We're talking about the main event now. All right. Let me just make this clear, guys. If you're picking Carlos Ulberg, you're sinning against combat sports, guys. You're just wronging. You're just wronging combat sports if you're picking Carlos Ulberg, because you just like. I've seen a lot of like fake, like, because for a good amount of casuals, this is their first like big numbered card. This is like their first card where they get to try to show off what they think is their knowledge about MMA. And so I feel like a lot of this is something that people had an issue with last card. Like this is something that exposes people. Like last card, the Moicano Duncan card. Like a lot of people were crapping on Tommy McMillan, saying like he's like not technical, he's like reckless, and he's like oh blah blah, he does all this wrong and that. What are you doing crapping on some really fun fighter for having a reckless fight style? Who cares if they're not technical? There are enough technically sound, perfectly fine strikers, perfectly fine fighters who do everything right. I don't really see the reason to critique someone for wanting to fight exciting and like trying to like look super technical, like oh man this guy literally sucks, he's so reckless. I don't know, it's just like a silly, like you look silly. Like nobody dislikes this fighter because they're reckless, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not looking any smarter by calling out the fact that Yuri Prohaska is not a very technical fighter. All right, bro, I'm just saying. We do technical analysis over here all the time. I'm not gonna be the one to be like, dude, Yuri Prohaska is like so not technical, bro. He freaking sucks. Come on. Let's be real, guys. Let's be serious. Are you talking about Beowulf? He's picking Carlos, I think. I saw he was picking Carlos. I'm not saying that Beowulf is sinning. I think Beowulf is just like he kind of like is he's usually very like emotionally detached from like big name fights. I notice like he doesn't really let like his appreciation of a fighter in both like personality or like even like fight style like weigh in on his prediction, or like he doesn't make really any biased predictions at all. He just kind of makes the prediction usually. But how could you pick against Yuri Prohaska, man? Come on. How could you pick against him? I could never. I couldn't never. No, he's not picking Ulberg because he just looks like him. He was picking him on the basis of like I think he said like Ulberg is just more technical, and that that Yuri wouldn't be able to like punch his way out. I think he was getting at the fact that Ulberg would probably mount some kind of early momentum and that Yuri wouldn't be able to climb back the same way he does against other fighters. And I think while that may be true, like, I would agree if this was a 3-rounder. I would probably be inclined to say that Olberg could win this fight if this was a 3-rounder, but it's not. It's a 5-rounder. We've never seen Olberg go full 5 rounds. We've never even really seen him like go at 3 rounds at the kind of pace that Yuri will force him to fight at. The pace that Yuri will fight Olberg at is so much more exponentially higher than really anything Olberg has forced himself to go through throughout his entire UFC career. It is not even really close. And I think his performance against Jan Blachowicz and Volkan Oezdemir is indicative of that. If Olberg is like, if Olberg is not met with some kind of resistance, I don't know why I'm like stuttering so much here or like slurring my words. CTE. If he is not, met with some kind of resistance, he is pretty content to just fight at the pace that he is comfortable fighting at, and he won't really push it either. So I think in that respect, Yuri is just going to be too much. And I don't think, and although Olberg is extremely fast, he is a really fast light heavyweight, I don't think he has the power to put out Yuri. I just don't see Olberg. Like, if you watched MMA Che's video, you'll know how kind of bad of a performance in terms of like defense and in terms of like comparatively to Yuri Prochazka, the performance that Olberg had against Volkan Oezdemir. Olberg had a terrible fight with Oezdemir. He looked on the same level. They looked like they were the same level essentially. Like, at least in my opinion, like at least comparatively to Yuri Prochazka's performance, because Yuri just kind of put him out immediately, right? But not immediately. He got rocked a little bit before he did that. But my point is that Olberg is very content to just fight at the pace he wants to fight at, and Yuri is never going to let him do that. He is just never, and I agree. Olberg's precision is kind of bad. He is very fast. He's extremely fast. He's probably the fastest light heavyweight on the roster, but he wings big hooks. He doesn't really have good boxing like fundamentals. He has like nice fast kicks, but at the same time, he keeps his chin up in the air, and he's a relatively reactive fighter. And I think against a guy like Yuri, who now has sort of evolved to start slipping on the inside and outside of punches, and he's switching stances, and he's using really long straight crosses and all this kind of stuff, I just don't see Carlos Olberg touching Yuri's chin hard enough to put him out, and like enough to deter Yuri from doing what he does best, which is melting guys gradually and finding a finish. Because I remember Lucas Tracy said this one time, Yuri's right hand is just, it's like a hot knife through butter, and that's just like, he just melts people. And that's just what's going to happen against Carlos Olberg, because we've never seen him deal with the kind of adversity that Yuri Prochazka has had to deal with, like versus Volkan Oezdemir, like versus Dominic Reyes, like versus even an Alex Pereira, in a fight that he lost, like in a fight like Khalil Roundtree where he was supposedly down 2 rounds. I don't believe he was. I believe if you watch that second round back and you are unbiased, it's a very close round. So, like, Yuri can lose every single round of this fight if Olberg does not fight a perfect fight or does not KO Yuri within the first 3 rounds. I just don't see him winning. He has to KO him early. He has to KO him relatively early within the first 3 or 2 so rounds. Otherwise, he's not winning. I just don't believe it's going to happen, because Carlos Olberg has not gone 5 rounds. We don't really know if he can handle the pace that Yuri will put on him. And even if he can, will he be able to fight at the range that he wants to? Will he be able to back off the cage like he wants to? Will he even be able to catch Yuri when he wants to? We don't really know any of these things because he hasn't really fought anyone the size of Yuri the length of Yuri. I feel like that these are big things that people aren't factoring in when picking Carlos Ulberg, is because these are all unknown things. Like it's the same thing like we talked about with Charles and Holloway, where you're picking based on an unknown. Although this is a little bit different because obviously you could just kind of argue that Carlos Ulberg is sort of like a baked half-baked version of Alex Pereira, and he could probably replicate the same success. But when you actually think about that, when you actually think about that statement, is Carlos Ulberg gonna be good enough to survive the first round that Alex Pereira did versus Yuri Prochazka in the first fight? Do you really think that Carlos Ulberg is going to be good enough to survive that and then have the precision to KO Yuri Prochazka afterwards? I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. I don't know. That's just what I believe. Maybe that's a little premature. Maybe I'm hyping up Yuri too much. But I've never seen someone smell blood in the water the same way Yuri does. And I have never seen someone break his opponents so consistently the same way Yuri does. Because in the case of like the Rakic fight and like the Volkan fight and like the Jamal fight, those three performances are all kind of similar to each other, where all three of those are like fights where Yuri is either having a relatively competitive fight or he's getting hurt in the process of finding his own shots, and then he finds like a really big, meaningful, significant shot that rocks his opponent really bad or just puts them out outright. And I feel like I could see the exact same sort of thing happening to Carlos Ulberg, but it'll probably be more similar to what his fights with like Khalil Roundtree and what's his face. I don't know why I just remembered who I was talking about, but fights where Yuri sort of melts the guy gradually, and I just don't see Carlos Ulberg doing that. And I feel like Yuri just does also do better against fighters that are his height. I think it's easier for him because he throws his punches at height level or at head level. So for him, it's probably going to be easier to fight a guy like Carlos Ulberg. And in my hypothetical, my imaginary breakdown video that I would have made on this fight, one thing that Carlos Ulberg loves to do is he loves to float his lead hand in front of his face so that he can, wing it around for those really fast left hooks. But he also keeps his chin up in the air while doing that. And I feel like that will be kind of an issue for Yuri because Yuri does kind of keep his hands low. He is going to just wade into the pocket whenever he feels like it. But I also see that just sort of being a weapon, like sort of a detriment to Carlos Ulberg, where Yuri is just going to like blow past it with his right hand. He's just going to be able to clip Carlos on the chin. Like, I do think the leg kicks will be an issue for Yuri, but Yuri has dealt with them before. Yuri has fought with against leg kicks like his whole career, and like if we're going to suggest that that Carlos Ulberg is like at Alex Pereira's level, that's the thing is that I don't think like I don't know, out of like maybe 4 out of the 10 times that Alex Pereira and Yuri fight, Yuri has the chance to like fluke KO him. He has the chance to catch him on the chin nearly the same way that he was catching Alex in the first fight. And in those 4 times, I think that's 9 times out of the fights that him and Ulberg would have, if that makes any kind of sense. My point is that the success that Yuri had in the Alex fight will be even more present in his fight with Ulberg, just because Ulberg is not at a higher caliber. Now, I do think Ulberg, to be fair, we're gonna have some nuance to this conversation. We're gonna add some nuance. Ulberg is a better back foot fighter than Alex Pereira. He just does move more. He's much more of a mover, but he also just hasn't had to deal with the same kind of pressure. And that's the thing, is that Carlos Ulberg is a mover against these guys who aren't really good at moving themselves. Like a guy like Jan Blachowicz, who is kind of notoriously slow at this point, notoriously plotty. Volkan Oezdemir, not really known for great movement. Who else? Like Alonzo Menafield. Like, what are we talking about, guys? Like, are we seriously going to say that Yuri Prohaska is going to lose to Carlos Solberg, who is moving around against guys who barely move in the first place? Like, I just don't see that happening. I don't know. I don't see it happening. Maybe that's an ignorant statement, but I think that's I think that's my opinion. Yuri was switching to southpaw and slipping, countering the jab so cleanly in the Jamal fight. Exactly, and he was doing it in the Khalil fight too. He like the sort of like the setup sequences to that third round. Like, oh man, dude, Yuri's gonna be champ again, and life is gonna be sunshine and rainbows. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. But it might be because Olberg has the personality of unseasoned rice, but kind of seems the same, sort of robotically nervous for this one. That JDM was ahead of fighting Islam. Perhaps. Like, when I look at this fight, I just think Yuri is Yuri is just about everything that Carlos Olberg hasn't faced tenfold when we truly think about this. Like, the only thing that you can say that Carlos Olberg has dealt with that Yuri Prohaska brings to the table is the power, I guess you could say. Like maybe Alonzo Menafield, maybe Volkan, maybe what's his face, Dominic Reyes. Like you could argue those things. I would argue no, but I would say, but you could like argue those things. But my point here is that Yuri is just everything that Carlos Solberg has not faced. And I think that Yuri has faced a guy like Carlos Solberg, or at least guys who have bits and pieces of Carlos Solberg, or are, even better than Carlos Solberg, like Alex Pereira. Like, I just don't really think Carlos Olberg will be anything new for Yuri Prohaska, and I think there is this sort of stigma that I think listening to a lot of the interviews, because I've been pretty hyped for this main event. I think listening to a lot of the interviews, it kind of comes off as like Carlos Olberg treating this title fight like he's like an athlete and less like a fighter, because what you kind of have to be against Yuri Prohaska is like a fighter. And I feel like, not to say that Carlos Solberg isn't a fighter. What I'm saying is like mentally that I feel like Olberg is looking for the clean fight. He's looking to keep it clean. And when has that ever worked against Yuri Prohaska? When has that ever worked? Unless your name is Alex Pereira, really. But I don't know. I feel like when I look at this, I just don't see that style, that way of fighting working. Because I feel like Yuri has not only evolved, but I feel like what Carlos Olberg brings is exactly what Yuri Prohaska has already faced and has made strides to improve at. So I would expect Yuri Prohaska to beat Carlos Olberg. And one thing people aren't really talking about is that Yuri Prohaska is younger. That was another thing that I meant to say, is that Yuri Prohaska is everything that Carlos Olberg hasn't faced. He has the youth, he has the length, he has the size, he has the power, he has the pressure, he has the chin, he has every single conceivable attribute that Carlos Olberg has not faced. You know? That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking in this matchup. So I don't know. Who are you guys picking? I feel like I've talked it out here. I feel like I've talked a lot about this. What do you guys think? Cause, oh, man, if Carlos Olberg wins the belt, dude, we're gonna be sitting here sad. We're just gonna be sitting here sad. we're just gonna be sitting here sad and depressed, and it's gonna be a terrible, terrible night. It's gonna be horrific. Yuri, yes sir. I don't know. I don't understand how you couldn't pick Yuri. Just cause like I'm just like I'm not gonna rely on the cleans. Like I'm not gonna rely on a fighter like keeping it clean against Yuri Prohaska anymore. Like that's just not going to happen, you know? I don't think youth matters up at light heavyweight. What matters more is the damage you've taken over your career and your experience, which kind of both cancel out because Yuri has both. Yeah, that's fair. I think the reason why I say that is mainly just because like Yuri has the experience despite being younger, and he's technically more in his physical prime. Carlos Ulberg is 36, man. And also, he looked kind of flabby for this fight, don't you guys think? He looked kind of puffy. Not flabby, he looked puffy for this fight. He looked kind of puffy, I'm not going to lie. If Yuri gets chinned in the first round, I'm ending the channel. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not putting that out into the universe, but I would consider the I would consider like not watching MMA anymore. I would consider quitting MMA. No, I'm just kidding, but Khalil's technical ability almost got him the win. The gas tank utilization is what lost it for Khalil. I don't really think that's true, to be honest. I think Khalil was missing at air most of the time, and he was winning based on volume. And then eventually in the second round, Yuri started to bide his time and get those body kicks in. A lot of those front kicks to the body, a lot of right hands to the body. Started slipping and ripping. Started using the jab a lot more in the last like 3 minutes of the fight, or of the second round. And then in the third round, Yuri just starts to immediately put it on because Khalil is gassing because of the body shots. So I think that's I think very clearly Khalil wasn't like he's not like more skilled than Yuri in really any way. I think Yuri just had more than him and had a smarter game plan. It's almost as if Khalil didn't have a game plan because he didn't use any leg kicks in that fight, like basically at all. Like I think like what I imagine Carlos Ulberg's game plan here is going to be is to draw out Yuri Prohaska with the jabs, the leg kicks, and force him to run into a left hook. But I feel like I don't know. I just see Yuri being a bit more patient. Like patient as in he won't like rush in, and he'll be aggressive but not reckless. Like Yuri is reckless, but he has taken a more like I guess tactical approach as of recent, like versus Khalil and versus Jamal. Even though he looked really funky against Yuri in the first round, like he was like slipping and sliding all over the place, but yeah. Well, the reason why Yuri knew that was because he stabbed him with a bunch of body shots, and Khalil just is notoriously known to like not have good gas really because he's so explosive. I think Khalil saw Rakic lose anyway after doing so well with leg kicks and decided to invest in just throwing heat instead. That's probably true, but the thing is that like the reason why Rakic lost wasn't really because like it didn't matter that he was throwing leg kicks. I think Rakic like was a little too complacent. Like he was landing on Yuri, but I think he should have been clinching more in the midst of those exchanges when he's having success because when you're out at space with Yuri, you're just giving him the opportunity to claw his way back, you know. You're giving Yuri that opportunity to claw his way back and find a kill shot, you know. And I think that's the issue that Rakic had, was that like he would be hitting Yuri with really big right hands and leg kicks, but he wouldn't be attempting a takedown, he wouldn't be attempting to clinch to sort of like bide his time and sort of cook the clock. And that's kind of what you have to do against Yuri. You have to cook the clock and let him, like in a 3-rounder, you have to cook the clock against Yuri. That's like the way to win. Like a guy like, I don't know, who's like a worthy light heavyweight name to mention here. I don't really know. I can't even think of like a light heavyweight prospect. Like if like Navajo Sterling decide, dude, that'd be a horrific murder. But if Navajo Sterling fought Yuri Proska today, his game plan should be to pick at Yuri from range, and then when he gets close, to clinch up with him and clinch him up against the cage, because up in the center he's just gonna get chewed up by elbows and knees. But you get my point. When he was fresher, I think he would have won that fight. Yeah, I think that's fair, but I also think that the clinch is a very physical thing, and because Khalil is so like explosive, I feel like he probably would have just gassed faster had he done that. The reason why I say the clinch after having success is as in like to cook the clock like up against the fence, it's a little bit different. I think if Khalil employed like a clinch game plan against Yuri, I don't know. I feel like that fight kind of always goes the way it did, just because like Khalil just didn't have any answer for the body shots. He just like didn't really have anything. Like he didn't really defend the straight to the body. He didn't really defend the teep to the body. He just kind of like wanted to take Yuri's head off, and Yuri was good enough to start slipping. And by the 3rd round, he was slipping and like smashing Khalil's face with big shots. Like I think it was like only a matter of time, really. And even in the clinch, we saw that in the 3rd round, like Yuri is like very competent. Like that's why I don't think it's like you can't just like willy-nilly clinch against Yuri. Like Yuri does have like a really, really good clinch game, very underrated clinch game. Like even right before he KOs Volkan, he like threatens like basically like half commits to a tie plum. Like he puts his arms out there and then he creates space and then just flattens Volkan immediately, you know? Khalil had Yuri in some good positions when he clinched in the 3rd round, but he lost them because he was sweaty and out of gas. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't remember what clinch positions besides the fact like when they traded elbows. I remember that, but I think I feel like Yuri doesn't really get any easier clinch wise like early. It's more so just like, do you want to commit to the energy so that you bank the round is more so what like it is. It's not about like finishing him early, you know? It's not about like using the clinch to finish Yuri. It's more about using the clinch to bank the round, and so that you're not getting hit like at range and getting boomed on. Is what I think. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, he had the. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, he had like the front headlock, and people thought he was gonna attack a guillotine. Like that's the thing, is that like Khalil Roundtree will never do something like that, which is why like it doesn't really. Which is why I was pretty confident in a Yuri pick. I was pretty confident going into that fight that Yuri would win, even though he scared me. He scared me so bad. That was one of the greatest. That was one of the greatest watches of all time. That was beautiful. I wouldn't even really call it a comeback, because like the second round is very close on rewatch. it's a close round. Like people who just like outright say that it was like 2-0 Khalil, I think that's a little. It's a bit of a Joe Roganism, don't you think? I don't know. I think so anyway. Yeah. But yeah, those are my picks for UFC 327. We got Yuri by 4th round KO. I feel like 3rd round is also pretty likely, but I'm going with 4th round just cuz I feel like this will go into the championship rounds. I feel like that's possible. So, picking Mirzakhanov by round 2 KO. I'm picking like a gajillion KO streak, which might not happen, but hey, I'm picking it anyway. So we got Hokit by round 1 KO, Reyes by round 1 KO, Swanson by round 2 KO, Pico by round 1 KO. Maybe it would be smart to like switch Pico to like decision. Maybe I should do that. That'd probably be smart. We got Gamrot by decision, Holland by round 1 submission, Suarez by decision, Padilla by decision, Gastelum by round 2 KO, and Charles Radke by round 2 KO. So thank you guys for tuning into the stream. Fights are on tomorrow. I don't do fight companion streams, at least not yet. Maybe we'll do it eventually, but we'll have fun. Enjoy the fights, guys. And I will most certainly be making a video. Maybe I'll make a video post this fight card. We'll see. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you all. For those who were in the chat, I will see you guys next time. This has been PAK MMA. Goodbye.